Today we're going to talk about handling crack injections. And to start with, we're going to show you how to apply our surface seal by using a nozzle. Make sure you break off the end of the nozzle, and what this is going to do for us, it's going to create speed and use less product. So we attach the nozzle to the end of our dual cartridge with the paste in there. It's a pre-threaded nozzle, you don't need a retaining nut. We put a little bit on a piece of cardboard and spin the port into the material and stick to the wall. The material is very adhesive and the port should hold on the wall as shown. You don't want to put a lot on the cardboard because you won't need a lot, and make sure you don't cover the bottom of the port as you press it onto the wall. You want to be able to see the crack through the port, so do not block the bottom. In the picture we started at the top, you can also start at the bottom so that the bottom product is set on the wall longer. Either way, it's going to take about 5 minutes to do this, so it doesn't really matter all that much. You'll start your injection at the bottom, that's just why we mention it. Put a nice bead, it's about a 1/4 inch bead on the wall, just like you were caulking a window or something like that. If you plan on peeling this off later, it's important to leave a decent amount of material on the wall so that you can create a nice piece of rope to pull off when we're done. We'll stop about every 2 feet and slightly press the product into the wall and around the ports. You do not want to let EverSeal surface paste sit in the nozzle too long, because it will start to gel up, and then at some point you'll have to put a new nozzle on there. So we spread it around the ports, down the wall, and make sure we cover all the crack. Pay close attention to the crack. Sometimes they do split off in different directions and then come back together again like a fork in the road, and we'll want to cover both sides of that fork. As you notice, we're applying the product liberally around the ports also. You want to pay special attention to the ports, because if you experience blowouts, typically the place you'll experience that is around the port. So we'll make sure to put plenty of material around the ports, and you'll see in the video we'll come back again later and apply it around the ports again. This whole process again will take about 5 minutes to do this. And there you can see how the crack has split into 2 directions. If you have a contoured wall, such as a brick pattern form that went up and the wall looks brick in nature, you may want to use a double bead, put product on both sides of the crack, and then press it into the crack. Especially with a brick pattern, you want to leave a lot of material on the wall if you want to pull it off again later. The surface needs to be dry while we're doing this. This product will not stick to a wet wall. The injection product we use, you do not have to be concerned about. That product will go into the wall without any problems, and water in the wall will not affect it. But again, this product will not stick to a wet wall. And as you can see here, we're going back and making sure that we got plenty of material around the ports. And at the end here, we're going to show you we used a lot less material on this wall. This wasn't even a new double cartridge, so there were a trace amount of materials we'd already used out of it. So it wasn't even a completely full cartridge, but you'll see we only used half of it. Now we tested the wall to make sure that the surface paste was hard enough, which takes about 15 or 20 minutes for it to harden, and you can test that by trying to dent it with your fingernail. If you cannot press a fingernail into it, you're ready to start the injection product with the foam. The foam will start at the bottom, and then we'll work our way up, moving from port to port. Inject in the bottom port. When it comes out the second port, cap the first port, inject in the second port. If you experience a blowout or product leaking from around the surface seal, if it's just a slight leak, continue to inject. If you're getting a lot of product coming out of the wall, move up a port or 2 above that leak, and cap everything in between, and inject from above where you're experiencing a big leak. Try not to move more than about a foot above the leaking area. It's a good idea to put 9 or 10 ports on a wall, especially very thin cracks, for this reason. You can move past the blowout, continue inject, and have great success. So we'll cap the first one here. As you see, Move up to the second. Inject into the second one. Now our Flex foam is very nice for a number of reasons. It's dense, it's high quality, it's very flexible. It expands aggressively, but not so aggressively that you end up with a mess coming out of the wall, because inevitably a little bit of product leaks out. But this product's nice because you don't have a tremendous amount of it running down the wall creating a big mess. Apply gradual pressure at the bottom. Ease it in. You want to get as much material in the bottom of the port as possible, bottom of the wall. That's where the majority of water problems are. And we work up the wall nice and easy. This takes about 5 or 10 minutes. This foam is very, very thin, so you won't have a lot of back pressure. You won't experience a lot of blowouts. You'll just have a much better experience using a thinner foam. It also won't react aggressively to the air itself. So once we go to pull it off, surface paste off at the end, you're not going to have a lot of bubbling in the crack coming back out at you, creating additional mess. It's going to look very clean. There it is when it's complete. You can see trace amounts of foam coming out of the wall. And then we just pull it off. You can use a trowel, it makes it a little easier. Here we just pull it off by hand, and you'll see a lot of the foam will come off with the surface seal. You can come back later, or not even later, after you're done pulling the surface seal off, you can come back with a little trowel and scrape that foam off. It's got its initial set, so it will not make a mess. You can upsell this idea to the customer or justify your price. A lot of homeowners like the look of the wall being clean when you're done. Also very appealing in a real estate transaction to have that clean and uniform looking, and that's it. So it's a successful repair. The whole thing took less than 60 minutes. It was about 55 minutes. There you see the clean wall.